less than an hour and a half to finish everything. Now, it's not possible for me to answer everybody's question thoroughly. And also, sometimes I say, may not completely clear. So if you have any question, please ask me, email me. If you don't answer here, I'll answer you later on, okay? I'll answer to your satisfaction. Otherwise, money back guarantee. Okay? So you ask me, I'll try my best to answer you. Okay? And that's fair, right? So I'm going to possibly answer all questions. We will have less than an hour and a half. I'll try to finish the main thing. Here is the result of a big study I did at Trinity Western. Okay? The purpose of the study is to find from common folks, people from all walks of life, their idea about what is a meaningful life. Okay? So I preface my study by telling people, if money is not an issue, if you have all the money you can spend, okay? How do you spend, how to do with your life? Okay, we're lottery, okay? We're lottery. If money is not an issue, what would be your ideal life? Fair enough. What will be the most meaningful life for you if you don't have to struggle to make a living? That's a fair question, right? I interview hundreds of people from all walks of life. At the end, the main findings are here. The main findings here. The most important thing for most people is relationship. Right? You feel belonging to a group. You have friends who understand you. That's understandable because we are relational beings. The second one surprised me. I want justice. I want to be treated fairly. Because if you are treated as second-class citizen, that's no fun. As a Chinese came to this country, I experienced a great deal of discrimination. I'm not telling you about that. Some of my students told me, Chinese men go home. He told me that. Horrible. Horrible. To be discriminated again. So people want justice. You know why? Because we not only have a relationship, but even in a society, in the context that if the society only favor white people, there'll be many unhappy folks there, right? If society only favors rich people, there'll be where people feel unhappy, right? So fighting for justice is one way to make life better for all, right? The third most highly rated is I feel happy. Everyone wants happiness. Not a single person doesn't want happiness. And most people go to see a therapist because they feel miserable and they're sick and tired of being miserable, right? They don't like that feeling anymore. They want to feel happy, right? The fourth, they want to suffer a setback. They feel that they have achieved something in their life. They're not a good for nothing person. They feel like they have accomplished, they have to do something with their life. Achievement. The intimacy, they want to have boyfriend, girlfriend, they want to marry, they want to have family. Intimacy. And then here, they feel that they're able to accept themselves. Now, self-acceptance means helping other people. Religion, that's very important. They support my idea that this self-acceptance religious power usually get buried by other concerns. Okay. So this picture is very informative because we're not doing armchair psychology. Say, oh, to live a meaningful life, you need this, you need that. That's people's voice from this common folks. If you don't have these things, your life will be out of whack. There's something missing in your life. These are ingredients for mental health. If you do feel achievements, this is like you need water, nutrition. Remember yesterday I talked about for physical health, you need exercise, you need nutrition, you need what else you need? Rest, you need water, you need air. This is what you need for mental health. You need to have some achievement, you need to have a relationship, you need to have an intimate friend, or how do you call it, confidant. If you're not married, you need at least 2 confidants. For my research on friendship, it's not how many friends you have that make you feel well. It's whether you have 1 or 2 confidants. See the difference? If you have 1 or 2 confidants that you can call upon 3 o'clock at night, they can help you do intimate. It's better than with 100 friends. So you need intimacy, and you learn to accept yourself. If you're not happy with your own skin, then you'll not be happy with anybody. Right? You have to be happy in your own skin. Yeah, I'm happy with my skin. It's not too good, but I'm happy with my own skin. Well, that's true, right? I can't escape from myself, right? I can't escape from myself. So that's lacking. Spiritual reality, that's lacking in most people's lives. Okay? You're right. Yeah? So that's why many people are in trouble. A balanced life will have everything, right? Okay, now I'll show you a picture now. This is a rat park. Now, how many people have heard about Bruce Alexander? He is a professor at Simon Fraser. Now, here is in the study. If you put rat in a cage, I think that's too many rats, okay? Give 2 bottles. 1 bottle is water, 1 bottle is morphine. Guess which bottle the rat drink?
Morphine.
Morphine. Morphine, yeah.
Morphine, right.
Morphine. All the rats prefer morphine, okay? But if you put rat in a rat park, there are wheels, there are slides, there are male and female, they can have sex. It's normal to try to make it a normal colony with other activities. Guess what? What do you prefer?
Water. Isn't that interesting?
What I tell you? What causes addiction?
Loneliness. Isolation.
Isolation, the abnormal life, the lack of connection. Right? That people get an addiction, about the triangle, addiction, depression. Because all the things people need in life are taken away from them due to urbanization. I just published a big paper on loneliness. You're interested in get one on loneliness. Loneliness is an epidemic. So many people suffer from loneliness. What? The urban life, where people are in boxes. There's no connection there. No wonder they develop problems. Now here, there's another twist here. If you, once the rat become addicted in a little cage, okay? People say, well, once you are addicted, your brain was hijacked by the drug. You have no more free will. Guess what? Those rats are really addicted. When those rats are put in a Red Park. They learn to prefer water. They got cured. So again, I tell you, what there's no need for, the life is so full, but there's no need for drugs, the problem is gone. About the importance of environment, importance of meeting the basic need for connection, for achievement, right? So this is so when we talk about mental problem disorder, there's so many disorders because our life is all messed up. People cut off from each other or alienated from each other. It's not normal. Back in the old days, when people work in a village, in a community, everybody cultivate the land, work together, they sweat, they're full of sweat and hard work, and they laugh and they go home together, eating together. The togetherness. And they do spiritual dance, and there's some Indian community that the spiritual dance, right? Spiritual dance is very therapeutic. They dance, they eat, they have fun. Wow, what a happy life, healthy life. Now with information age, everybody's hooked, addicted to this iPad, iPhone, you know. They don't talk to each other. But the technology is ruining us. So if we don't go by the basic, we'll continue to be messed up. The basic thing about relationship, about maximum your life, about spiritual needs, about religion, about social justice, these are basic human needs. Right? So, and it's helpful that when people suffer from disorder, it's not an individual problem, it's a societal problem. And you and I, as therapists, have been involved in social activism. I told one lady that I've been fighting on behalf of my client, fighting the court, fighting with the school board to help my clients. So we are involved in social activism. Right? Whew. Oh, sitting down now. Now, when you look at the different social meaning, some of them are self-oriented, right? Positive emotion, goal striving, acceptance, intimacy. Some of them are other-oriented, relationships, transcending, religious beliefs, social justice. So we need both self and other. If you only self, you'll be in trouble. If only others, you'll be also in trouble, right? If you don't take care of yourself, who take care of you, right? So you're responsible for taking care of yourself. Now here's a balanced life. This is my picture, right? We can see that everything, the eight things, everything balance each other. So achievement is balanced by acceptance. You got limitation to what you can do, right? Intimacy is balanced by relationship. If you only have one person, if you ignore all the others, you're not healthy, right? There's a balance. Your self-transcendence, you want to transcend yourself, help others, and fairness for all is balanced out each other. So and then you have positive well-being. So that is a balanced model. Any question? Okay, now talk about parapsychology. If you look at parapsychology, there are three pillars. Virtue means virtue and character strength by area. Meaning, what makes life meaningful? 3, happiness. So an ideal life should have all 3, right? Am I right? Ideal life, you should feel happy, also feel that your life is worthwhile, meaningful, and also you are not a bad person. Your life is good. You're a decent human being. You're not a jerk. You're not a badass, right? Like badass? That's a term. So nobody wants to have a badass. Okay, you have to look like a decent person, right? So you're in a virtue, you have meaning, you have happiness. Okay? Now here's my picture. Here's my picture about three-factor theory about happy life. The meaning that is the well-being, there's a virtue. Okay. So the true self, the eudaimonic happiness and attunement, the true self have integrate all three. Okay? You don't have to get too involved with it, but tell you that the three dimensions have to be involved. That's in a paper I published last year. Okay? Here's the three-factor theory of a good life. Meaning contributes to well-being, meaning a protector about stress, meaning the resilience factor. That published in Encyclopedia last year. How does meaning contribute to well-being? Answer. First answer. If you do something good, you will feel good, right? Feeling good from doing good. If you do something that is deeply important to you, you will feel deeply satisfying, right? So, meaning contribute to your feeling good, right? Meaning as a protector factor, how meaning protect you? Remember, change from threat to challenge. If you see a threatening situation as a challenge, would that protect you? Would that protect you? Eh? No? Huh.
Meaning as a, can you repeat the statement? Meaning as a
Threatening thing. Look, you will see something
challenge
threatening.
thing.
You will see something threatening in your life. You run away, it's threatening. Or you face it, consider it as a challenge. Which is more helpful?
B.
Right. A lot of research shown, I'm not gonna make up story. I developed a appraisal scale. You appraise the event, a threat, a change. More and more research shown that you were able to help the people reframe it, because reappraisal, reframing. If you are able to reframe, reappraise the event as challenging, you feel that you're more able to face it, the challenge. So it's to make you, to protect you from being scared. Every time you learn how to reappraise, you win. It's very powerful. Eh? It's called reappraisal. It's now well established as an effective coping. Recently, the meaning-making model by Crystal Park, reappraisal is listed one of the meaning-making coping strategy. Reappraisal. Not a threat, challenge. I'll rise up the challenge. Third, meaning as a resilient factor. Remember how Frankl said? Those who know the why can bear almost any harm, right? You can see some positive meaning in your suffering, the suffering will become more bearable.
Becomes a lesson. Becomes a lesson.
This is like the old dissonance theory, right? I remember when I was in the hospital, suffering so much pain. And what for? If I can think up a reason for my pain, no, well, my pain is worse than something because I gained that. You were able to find a reason for pain. Your pain is more bearable. You endure more. That maybe psychological dissonance, doesn't matter. It's still you're able to endure more. You have a reason for endure, you can endure more pain. Okay? Oh, I remember a mother, so terrified about of going through chemotherapy. She refused. She said, I'd rather die than go chemotherapy. And then finally, she realized it, but of her children. I'll go through it for my children, so that they will have a mother. See, a reason, right? I'll go through chemotherapy so that I'll increase my chance of survival for my children. Not for myself, I'd rather die. So that's why you'll be able to help the client find positive reason. You know, push and pull, right? You're able to find a reason and harness that thing. Then you have motivation to recover. Okay? Any questions so far? Oh, there's my friend Chris. Come on. Okay. Here is a good framework. This is a complete definition of meaning. How is that different from other definitions? I need Arthur. Arthur,
Yep.
you are a PhD student. You should be able to answer that question. Come on, sit down.
What's the difference of this
Now,
model?
what is the Michael Stagger definition of meaning?
Having purpose in life and having meaning in life. So his scale basically asks that question many times.
Yeah, but what is definition?
His definition as like an experience of meaning, right?
So thank you, by the way.
So there's like functioning and there's experiencing.
Okay, I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he studied PhD, you know, with so basically, Stagger or whatever, most of the psychology emphasize the purpose, right?
Yeah.
And emphasize cognitive understanding. Makes sense. Sense making and purpose, two-factor theory. I have a four-factor theory. You know why? Because most of them forget about responsibility. We know from yesterday, you can have cognitive understanding, you can have purpose, but that can make you a Hitler. Your meaning is only purpose and understanding, that can make you, doesn't pass the Hitler test. Your adequate ability, you're responsible to humanity. You do no harm to other people. Do no harm. You enter responsibility as a safety car. Then you're more likely not to do bad things. Okay? If you do good things, then you'll be deeply satisfied, right? The research shows you will feel good from doing good, right? So here is a comprehensive definition of meaning. And the more people buy into that, but that is consistent with the literature. You can do literature search, you can see that covers everything, okay? So if you have that in your head, when you work with a client, you can have sense about, is he lacking purpose? Is he lacking understanding? Or lacking in ability? That's why he's miserable. So that gives you a framework for intervention, right? If he is lacking purpose, then you will sit down with the client to find, what do you want in life? What do I do when I grow up? What do I do when I grow up, eh? What do you want, Amy, what do I do when I grow up? So, you explore the abilities. What purpose do you want to pursue? Understanding. Do you have the gifts and talents for that? Is there a need, a demand for that? If the society requires that, so you have to look beyond yourself, the whole situation, the whole context, to have a deeper understanding about what is needed of you. Remember, what life demands of you. What life demands of you. Are you looking for volunteer work? Yeah. What the world needs you most, and what you can give most. If there's a match, bingo, you got it, right? Life demands of you, and what you can offer. If there's a good match, you find a purpose. Is that clear? When all these three are aligned together, you will have deep satisfaction. Does it work? Anybody try that in counseling? Keep it in mind, keep that as a framework. As a framework for meaning intervention. Okay? I can time it out. Here. Okay, is it clear now? The first part, okay, have you heard about ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy? So ACT has become very popular because it links forth with positive psychology. Okay? So the idea is that you accept you accept the situation, the bad situation you are in. Okay? You're not happy or you're depressed, you feel miserable, you accept the situation. But you need to, you feel lousy, you accept all that. Like mindful meditation teaches that. Right? But your job is to identify your core value. What you value in life. Once you identify your core value, the next step is to commit some action to pursue the value. Okay? You follow me so far? So the whole acceptance, commitment therapy focus on value and action unit. Okay? You follow me so far? Does it pass the Hitler test? Yes or no? No, doesn't, right? Because the value could be killing all the Jews. My purpose is to kill all the Jews. Or my purpose is to kill all the people who don't agree with communism. So it doesn't pass the Hitler test, doesn't pass the Mao Zedong test, doesn't pass the Stalin test. Because a core value could be no value at all. The core value could be very destructive. Okay? Here is my approach to the same thing. I say the pure, okay? The purpose has to be based on two things. The purpose has to be based on enduring values, human right values. Human right values. The purpose has to be based on the principle of getting out of yourself, self-dependence. Right? So in that sense, you are able to help my client to enlarge the purpose, to make sure the purpose is aligned with higher value and aligned with the principle of serving the common good, the higher purpose. Would that pass the Hitler test? Would that?
Yes.
Yes, of course, right? Do no harm and bring happiness to other people. Clear understanding now. Again, understanding is on two parts. You understand the situation you are in. But Frankl and I also emphasize you understand God's will for your life. Now I'll bring a spiritual dimension now. The ultimate meaning. What is God's will, God's calling for you? So once you bring in a transcendental, even for people who don't believe in God, when you bring a transcendental dimension as part of your calling, the wisdom calling, okay, people will be more motivated if your calling has a transcendental origin. You can ask Michael Snyder, he'll tell you that. Your calling has a transcendental origin, you're more motivated. I have a mandate from heaven. I have a mandate from heaven to wage war against terror. So you feel more motivated, right? And here, adding more to the thing. Responsible action, responsible value, conscience, and wisdom. So if you're responsible, you have to pass all three tests. The end result will be deep satisfaction. So this is a broader framework. Any question? This is probably in that chapter right here. You can take a look. Okay? So it's a broad picture, okay? And avoid the possibility of humane concern is make sure that there won't be no more Hitler, no more Mao Zedong, no more Stalin, no more evil dictators, and people everybody have to act responsibly. Anybody any question? ABCD now. Oh boy. Do you like that situation?
Good workout.
Good. Who's that?
I did. Good workout.
Good for you, Karen. You got a positive attitude. Good for you. No wonder you're so happy. No wonder you're so happy. Hey, you gotta run like that. Learn from Karen, okay? She's our golden girl, right? How do you react to that?
Sisyphus?
Do you remember the story behind that? Anybody?
Who is that?
Huh?
Who is that? That's Sisyphus.
Who?
Sisyphus.
Citizens, right?
Sisyphus.
Yeah, what is the story?
He has to push a rock up a mountain, but the rock always falls down, and he has to push it again, and he's eternally trapped in that.
Is he happy?
No. I don't know.
Ask him.
Is he happy or not?
We have to ask him.
No.
No. I think that John Satir wrote the article. John Satir about Camille, but that mixed up too. But he wrote an essay about syllabus. He said, he pushed up and pushed down. The finding, the last line of the story said, he must feel happy. Why? Good workout, right? What else I listen? I defy the gods. They punish me, they send me to punishment to crush me, but I'm not defeated, I'm not crushed. I take it in stride. In the process, I get stronger and stronger. I'll find different ways of pushing around. I become creative. I become. You feel happy. So what's the lesson for us? Do you feel that situation? That you cannot change? You're condemned to push the rock all your life. No escape. If you use Viktor Frankl's principle, what do you do? Feel free to swear. You're Frankl, what do you do? Eh? Your power swear and curse. And say, I'm not going to be defeated. I will not be defeated. and I'm going to get something out of it. Work out, eh, Karen? I'll get something out of it.
I do not agree with this because I work with very strong addictions with the clients and who goes up to the stage of committing suicide. And one of the situations I have found that they have so much pressure, they cannot say no.
Turn from where?
Sorry, with their family because
From
they have,
family.
yeah, because they cannot say no and they carry that pressure on them. So I think that thing only applies in certain circumstances where, let us say, there is no way out, then okay, I have to adopt it, I have to accept it. But in other situations, I mean, from what I have lived my life, in my experience in different countries, been to streets, so
Okay.
so there, you know, it becomes, because I need to learn how to say no also.
Okay. Now, I understand belong from China, right? There are pro and con for a collectivist society. But you know, friend, uncle, auntie, grandma, grandpa, the whole clan, you know, they have to fit in, everybody can survive. So they're trapped in that system, yeah? So in order to survive that system, this is about attitude. Sure, there's a way for you to stand up to the challenge and not to be a victim. You're not going to be a victim for the family system that you're in. I'm responsible for my life. If I have to, I'll leave the family or go to America. That's why you're here, right?
Not necessarily.
The many people go overseas, right? To escape from the system, oppressive system. I'll rather poor but free. So I leave China. There's always something you can do. Your freedom. Freedom and ability. That's the lesson you need to remember. To be well, you have to exercise your freedom even with a defined attitude. Here the situation is out of your control. But you still have the freedom to defy fate, to defy adversity. Okay? Now, translate that to action. I'm going to translate to action. Okay. I translate that into ABCD. Now, you think for a while, okay? The first part is what? The reality principle, right? Love is bad. Love is horrible. Love is full of shit. It smells. It's full of horse shit, bullshit, every shit. It stinks. You shuffle it, keep piling up. You might have spent the rest of your time shuffling shit. You know what it feels like? I tell you that experiment. No, real experiment. There's a Christian. During the Cultural Revolution, he was arrested and sent to camp, the labor, what do you call that?
Concentration?
In China, labor, salt reform camp. 一定是Cultural Revolution， 文化大革命。
文化大革命啊。
啊，那sent to the camp, what kind of camp? Thought reform camp.
劳教所。
Thought education.
Yeah.
Thought education.
Brainstorming.
Do you know what his
Brainwashing.
job? Do you know what his job?
Indoctrination.
Do you know what his job is? Every day, his job is to clean up the cesspool full of human feces. The stench, they make you. His job every day is to clean up the cesspool with a shovel. Roll up the sleeve, standing inside. Did you take that bad? how he survived? He said, I am not going to let this destroy me. I'm bigger than this. My God is bigger than this problem. Say, God, give me the attitude, the strength, the grace to endure the odor, the dirt, the filth. And restore the spirit of joy within me. He shuffled, praise the Lord. He shuffled and passed out an ammunition. I'm joking. No, praise the Lord, pass the ammunition. No. I shuffle, they shuffle, they sing, and praise the Lord, and praise the Lord, and praise the Lord. I can do it. By God's grace, I can do it. When change the attitude, the order becomes less. And the calmness up there, what is the crazy guy? Wow. Who is this crazy man? He doesn't complain. He doesn't swear. He doesn't give up. He prays God. He's happy. They asked him, how are you able to do that? Hey, do you know the answer? I'll give you the answer. Jesus in my heart, God help me. Give me the strength. I resolve, mental calmness. The red guy become converted. That's the story about Cultural Revolution. Because of Cultural Revolution, so many red guys were converted. Don't say, oh, my condition is bad. It can't be as bad as Nazi concentration camp. It can't be as bad as shuffling the shit from St. Paul. So that's why, I don't understand some people in the West, a little pain, I got so much pain. You haven't seen the real world yet. The real world is horrible. The real world is horrible, okay? Now believe, okay? Right? Not only accept, but believe that help. Believe that's worth living, whatever the condition. If you remember yesterday we learned what you believe so, what will happen? You will make it so, right? William James, right? You believe life worth living, you'll be able to make life worth living. So the power of belief, we learned that before, right? Are you okay? The third one will be, you will believe that there's a way out. Okay? Commitment to a goal, the action principle. And D, discover the meaning and significance of self. So when you are committed to action, the shit is deep high. When I'm doing that, I'm committed to doing that. That's the only thing I do. That's your job, right? You discover that I can do it. There's meaning and significance because I can use my action of defiance and joy to glorify God. See? Then it comes meaning and significance. Suffering, busy, what's meaning and significance of that? Anything you do, there can be meaning and significance. All the manual job you can do has meaning and significance. It's up to you to what? To discover. Remember the meaning potential? It's up to you to discover it. If you do that, you will feel happy, You feel good about yourself, and you can also evaluate whether it's working for you. If not working, you do some fine tuning. Any question? This is very powerful, okay, for intervention. You can work with the kind of area of acceptance, where they're still in denial about the situation. When they come to the point of seeing how bad the situation is, okay, that's a good point, okay? Not whitewashing it, not evading it, avoiding it, but find out how bad the situation is. Then we come to the point about what we can do about it. Is there anything you can do about the problem? It comes down to what? Your worldview. Cognitive CBT. You know the situation, your attitude, your thinking about the situation. You're going back to your worldview. What you say about the situation, what you believe, are into your worldview. Your worldview is a materialist worldview. There's no God, no nothing. Then you're more likely to be depressed. But you really believe that there's something there. You might call it Buddha, you call it Allah, you call it God. If you believe that there is some power there, a higher power, that can rescue you, that can give you strength, can give you grace, that makes a difference between your actual source of motivation. It's no longer push and pull. Now you have what? Your inspiration. Your motivation plus inspiration equal maximum power. That sounds good, right? Right? Motivation plus inspiration equal to optimal power. You need optimal power for optimal living. That sounds good too, right? Good idea now? So these are areas to work with your clients. So that's why you work. See, sometimes people, therapists, feel stuck. They don't know where to go. Okay. So I'm saying that what I'm giving you today is some framework. Okay. Frankl's 3 core values. Frankl's 3 instrumental values. Okay, remember that? And my pure intervention and ABCD intervention, they're all frameworks. Okay? Each framework provides you many opportunities to work with your clients. Okay, I think I have two more principles. I have to skip because time is. There's so much I'll skip. There's so much respect. See, I'm sorry I can't cover that. I'm sorry, bye-bye. Bye-bye, oh, bye-bye. Okay, now here are some instruments I have developed. The stress appraisal measure. This is the most widely used stress measure in the whole world. It's developed by my graduate student, Apricot, and myself. Apricot was your T, doing Ph.D., and I'm his supervisor, and this is his dissertation. So this is a method that can use to test how people perceive things as. Another thing I developed is a coping schema that I'll tell you later on more about this later on. And the third thing I developed is death acceptance profile. In literature, in old days, all they have is death anxiety, death fear. So I came along and said, wait a minute, not everybody's afraid of death. How about death acceptance? At that time, nobody knew very much about that. So I studied that. I discovered that there are 3 types of death acceptance. One type is what? One type is to accept death as the natural life cycle, okay? The natural acceptance. The second part of death acceptance is that, oh, I have the afterlife. See, I have future life. So that is the spiritual notion, the approach acceptance. The third kind of acceptance is that death is better than life. I'm suffering immensely. Help me to die. So the 3 kind of very different acceptance. So nurses now working with in the hospice often use my scale to identify different kind of different attitude towards death. Okay? Here now is there's another model, another intervention called due process. Okay? For your pain, what do you want to do? You want to avoid pain, right? Right? So your motivation is to avoid pain. Another possibility is that you have to avoid something, you want to approach a positive motivation to embrace pain, to tolerate pain, still and live fully. Okay? Like I'm walking with pain, right? I did not avoid pain, right? If I avoid pain, I'll walk. Then I'm stuck, right? Or I have a knee replacement. Yeah, I'm afraid to do it right now, right? Because it might even get worse. So I do my pain, right? It's not fear of me, even I'm limping. Here's the idea. In cell therapy, the research shows the motive of avoiding pain is less effective than the motive of approaching something positive. The motive of approaching something positive has more motivating force than avoidance. Okay? So your therapy is just focus on reducing pain, that's fine, but it's less powerful. But if a therapist says, okay, I can give you skill, technique to reduce your pain, but I can do better. I can teach you how to relate to pain, to continue to approach, to seek your life goal, and learn how to live with your pain. This is more powerful, right? You'll be able to live a full life, doing what you love to do, while limping with a painful knee. That's better than to avoid pain. Because due process, right? So on one hand, you try to help the person manage the pain. On the other hand, I want to teach you how to relate to your pain and pursue something make you excited about. Do you understand the principle? That's why when I see a client, I say, let me tell you what I can do for you. You want to remove your anxiety? Yeah, I can tell you. But I'll tell you how I do it. I will not only help you to manage your symptoms, but I like to work with you to be your best self, to develop your potential, to live your ideal life. Wow, that opened their eyes. Oh, I can still do that? Sure, I can still do that. So I get hope, right? That they can still live a full life in spite of the pain. The pain is not the end of life. The life is much bigger than pain. Right? Oh, now I'm sitting down now, avoiding my pain. I'm avoiding my pain. Okay, what time we have? Oh, this is fun. Tragic optimism. Okay? How come it cannot see the bottom? Oh, that's correct. That doesn't matter. At the end of his book, Criminal Question Me, by the way, you showed me that book. Huh? Like, give back to me. It's my treasure. I don't have the Frankl's book. Okay. Oh, I leave it until later. Okay. Have you read it yet? Have you read it yet?
Not all of it.
You haven't read it?
I was on vacation.
Oh. You better buy a copy, okay? So at the end of that little book, there's a chapter called Tragic Optimism. Okay? Tragic Optimism. So that sounds like some contradiction, right? You're tragic, how you be optimistic? Right? I mean, right? You're trauma, you just experienced trauma. How you remain optimistic? So Frankl's answer is that if you impose the meaning triangle, the attitude, the defining attitude, the experiential, to discover some beauty around you, and creative, doing something you can do with your life, that will help to overcome the trauma. Okay? The meaning triangle. Try that. Okay? So I go one step further. I say, well, what are the components that help people? I think I develop skill and did a lot of research. So I'm saying that there are five elements to help you try the optimism. One is accepting the worst. Doesn't matter accepting the worst. The second is affirming that life has intrinsic value. That's earlier back, remember yesterday. The second tenet of lower third, or the third tenet is affirming that life has meaning, right? That's how bad life is. Life still has meaning. Life still has value. I refuse to deny that. That's my turning point. The bad situation, but love is stronger than that. Meaning is stronger than death. Meaning is stronger than tragedy. Then how bad is, nothing is as bad as shuffling the set pole every day. Not as bad as living in a concentration camp. In those situations, I can say, I believe in life. I believe in the value of life. I believe in intrinsic dignity of human being. Because I'm made in the image of God. Because Buddha nature was in me. This is a belief, right? This is a positive belief which has adaptive function. It can help you to cope with adversity much better. The third element is, again, self-transcendence. I want to help people in the same boat. In fact, I want to help people who are in worse situation than I am. Wow. In a concentration camp, Frankl saw prisoners who shared their own breadcrumb with people who are dying. They're able to endure their own hunger to relieve the pain of someone who needs more. If you think that way, you'll be happier. Not me. There are people who suffer worse fate than you are. There are people who suffer more pain than you have. Not poor me. The third one, have faith. Faith, hope, love. Let's say, remember that. The three things: faith, hope, love, right? Faith. Love other people and hope. You are able to maintain your faith, hope, and love. You can face any situation. The last thing is the virtue that the mother of all virtue. You got to have the guts to stand up. If a coward, then nobody can do anything for you. Anything worth doing is worth fighting for. Anything worth doing is worth dying for. If you haven't found anything worth dying for, you haven't found your dream, haven't found your value. So when you find something worth dying for, you know that your dreaming, your dream, your integrity is more important than that. You know why I said it's so powerful, you know why? You know why they're winning all the time, you know why? Anybody know the answer? They found something worth dying for. They're not afraid of death. You match two armies together. One army not afraid of death, another army afraid of death. Which wins? The one who fears of death wins, of course. They're not of death. They're fearless. If we will find something that's worth dying for, then you'll be free from fear of death. That's why in the early century, so many Christian martyrs, that they rather die killed even by lying than denying their faith. So the courage thing I want to leave with you. Yeah, but okay. Now, have you heard about stress inoculation? Have you received stress inoculation? Huh? How many people have received? How many people have received a shot of stress inoculation? Huh? Do you know Michael Baum? A very famous kind of behavior. Have you met him? Huh? Do you need one? Do you need a stress security right now? I'll give you a shot. Free. Do you know what it is? Put you through some stressful situation that will not kill you. So you develop immunity to be able to overcome that. And then you can tolerate more stress. I have treatment reps to tolerate all kinds of things. Stress in the air. The whole idea is that if you're pampered, protected from any stress, the poor kid has no future. I feel sorry for the kids who have been protected from all adversities and all troubles. The worst thing a mother can do to children is to overprotect them. Because you're not preparing them for life. A smart mother will give them stress inoculation. Kid, the outside world is very tough, very hard. You better learn how to cope with it at home. Now, who said that? The famous Helen Keller, right? Can I hear? Can I see? The world for suffering, but also for overcoming. You know, how victorious. Yeah, victorious, right? She's still inspiration for generations. Oh, Anne Frank, the young lady, same thing. Oh, well, this will be the last thing I talk about, okay? I really need it. This will be the last model I want to teach, okay? What's the other? Have you, in school, did you learn about stress? The science of stress?
Like
Which is the
stress?
most famous theory about stress?
Lazarus theory?
Lazarus, thank
Yeah.
you. Who's next famous? I'm teasing you.
You.
next famous along. Just
Yeah,
kidding. Right. See, Lazarus, now, that's very influential, okay? That's very influential. Lazarus said, whether you're stressed or not, it depends on your relationship with the event, right? A relational theory, a transactional theory. If you have enough resources, something happens to you, oh, piece of cake, nothing. My car is total, I buy a new one, get a lot of money on. Oh, no big, I buy a better car. So even resources, your car is wrecked. You don't consider stressful, right? But on the other hand, you have no money. Oh, my car is broken. I can't go to work. I'm in trouble. Huge stress. Do you understand that? So the basic point is that it's not the intrinsic value of the event, the stress, but your appraisal, your ability to handle it. You can handle it, no big deal, right? That's a basic theory. So I came along, say, Lazarus, move over, I'll make it a more complete theory. Okay, I'll make more complete theory so that you can predict effective coping more precisely. This is what I've done, yeah? I see. The first part, develop and cultivate your resources. Remember? You have more resources, the things are less stressful. That makes sense? But you need to recognize that all kinds of resources, educational, intellectual, emotional, social, spiritual, physical, financial, cultural, environmental, there are all kinds of resources. If you are not employed right now, okay? Spend time, cultivate your resources. You come handy one day. Okay? Make friends, learn language, new language, increase your knowledge, sharpen your intelligence, building your body, push rocks. Okay, right? Do something to build up resources. To say, oh, I have nothing to do. I can't find a job. Do you know when I was unemployed? Many years I was unemployed after high school. You know what I do? I have a schedule to study, self-study. I borrow books from the American library, English books. Okay? I learn history, I learn physiology, I learn psychology. I have a schedule to study. Then I have a schedule of looking for jobs. So my days are full. I don't sit home and say, oh, I have no job. Oh, I have no job. I'm a failure. I don't do that. Spend the time, cultivate your resources. I don't care whether you're employed or unemployed. You can always do something to improve yourself. Am I right? Everybody can improve your English, improve your body, physical health, making more friends. You will need that to survive. And my friend John Leland studied and found that it's a 50-year research project. The elderly in their 80s, 90s, who are still healthy, who are there, don't have education, intelligence, friends. Those people are, those elderly have good resources. So they're there in the old age, they can do better. Now here. Another improvement from Lazarus. Do you remember Lazarus' with a coping? Emotion focus, problem focus. 2. That's all, right? If something you can do, you do to avoid it. If nothing can do, you tremendous emotion. The 2. So I developed the more common strategy than this 2. There's another kind called meaning focus. right now, Lazarus, famous student, what's his name? Folkman and Park did identify meaning focused coping, which basically reappraisal, okay, reframing. So they're meaning focused coping. Yeah, there's problem focus, emotion focus, they're meaning focus. They're at least three, but there are more. I'll show you. Okay. If we're able to do that, you will reduce stress, enhance well-being. Okay? So that's a basic model of congruence. So you can teach your client about this resource congruent model. Now, I have 8 different kinds of coping strategies. Situation strategy is like problem focus. Self-restructuring, change your lifestyle, change your cognitive reframing. Anti-emotional means that do some emotion, protest, right? Express your anger. Passive emotion means run away, avoid being upset. And both are adaptive, depending on the situation. If some situation, if you're angry, it gets done. Am I right? Sometimes you have to get angry, it doesn't get done. When you confront the manager, got angry, say, well, how you do that to a customer? Anger bring out result. They call it active emotion. Okay? And meaning focus, acceptance, there are 8 different kinds. So if you use the appropriate coping with the appropriate situation, you have to much better. Okay? Go back to same student. Oh, I ran out of steam. Okay, let's conclusion now. I'm sorry. I just ran out of steam. But you have everything in there. And here's the conclusion of my part. The first part is simply that human beings need not only to survive, but also to thrive. Right? And don't forget to survive, right? Mere existence is no life, right? So we have dreams, we have ideals, we want to make life better. So people need for survival and flourishing. And we all have the human capacity for transforming negative and positive. What the capacity? Huh? What the capacity to transform negative to positive? Meaning seeking, meaning making, cognitive, right? When reappraisal, reframing, restructuring, we always change negative into positive, right? We can always double cure, both repairing the problem, preventing problem, and also increase the chance of living good life. Finally, the fourfold blessings. I wish you fourfold blessings. Thank you very much.